Hello, and welcome to the first devlog of this Alien Isolation inspired horror game. Even though it seems that there is too much to unpack from the introduction, there are not many elements that are defining the state of the game right now. Before starting to show what I have been doing, let me introduce the game that inspired this for the ones that are not aware of it. Alien Isolation is a survival horror game that emphasizes on stealth and resource management. The player must navigate through a space station, scavenging for material to craft items and weapons, and avoid or outsmart a single but highly intelligent alien creature that is hunting them. The choice of this game was based on the theme from a past brackets jam, called It's Not Real, and my original idea was to create a game where the player had to escape a ship based on Alien Isolation, with an invisible enemy using a similar AI system. For this experience, the alien itself has to carry a nice behavioring AI, which is really demanding feat, in which usually the majority of games just decide on resolving this problem using normal trigger scripts. This inspired game that I'm developing will not have such great development in AI behavior, but I will try my best to bring this idea as close as possible to the feel of the original game. After watching the introduction of Alien Isolation, the graphics of this game look really cheap. But I decided to work with what I have, and in the end it was my decision to go for low poly. So let me start by showing up the level loading system. The game levels are separated into various scenes. The idea is not to overload the system with a big map, but to subdivide it into various parts. Starting, you have to have a main scene that will hold the necessary components that the game will always use no matter what scene you're playing in, like the player character, manager's UI and the AI director, which I will explain later. And from here you're going to load and unload all of the levels that you need. In some situations, two scenes could be sharing the same game space, so I excluded an area that both of them used, for example an elevator. This common area is used with a button to fire the managing of both scenes to load and unload while the player was in it. I use these in more circumstances, for example trains, where the train itself is like a link between two scenes where both share that same location. The train or the elevators are basically in the main scene where they're just used for transitions. The game has some challenges for the player to overcome. For example, to activate certain mechanisms in the map to open up access to other parts of the map. All of the challenges are presented using an interface in-game, trying to emulate a digital interface like a computer screen. For now, all information that the player receives about any challenges will be presented to the player in this form. One thing that is truly challenging me is to discover a natural way to attract the player and teach him to recognize the computer as a source of useful, progressive information of the state of the game, like a checkpoint. For now, the computer screen has a flashing cyclical image that tries to give some sort of attraction to the player for him to check what's going on. But my main goal is to find a way that I can teach the player naturally to be aware of its importance to the gameplay. Technically speaking, I decided to use scriptable objects to serve as data links between the computer and the interactable challenges. It is not a hard process. The computer can hold up to 3 inbox slots. Each message inbox slot can have a scriptable object associated to a challenge, and depending on its progression state, a different message will be displayed. Player animations are a huge deal to create immersion in the game, and that is a great selling point for its success. The fact that we can see our own hands gives a stronger sense of belonging and connection to the world, and this is where icon rigging and animations come. For now there is no much apart, but it is just a small things that can make something run long. The most enduring and hard part of the development of this game, the alien AI. Previously coded on an entire script, it was starting to become a huge mess of comprehension, and this is where I started to learn about finite state machines. And now I say, if you're doing some sort of work in any element that contains multiple states of behavior, I seriously recommend learning concepts of state machines and apply them. Not only they are easier to work with, but for debugging and reading, since all different states are separated into their own component scripts. The difference in code management was abysmal. The state machine reduced the size into various parts, holding behaviors like idling, patrolling, hunting, vision handling, and sound detection. Currently I only have some doubts that I should hold the sound detection to a specific state, or if I'm doing the correct thing in holding it in the main script that contexts all of the states. To finish this vlog, I want to bring attention to my favorite part of the development, the cinematic scenes. I have a lot of appreciation to cinematography, and for me this is a big deal in any kind of visual art. They bring a lot of story, context and immersion, and again it's a small detail that I believe that will bring a lot of value to the game. Right now the game starts with the player waking up and having the opportunity to get a small lore context of seeing a fleet of ships jumping out. There is a kitchen that you can interact with food dispenser, crazy engines, a black hole which I don't want to spoil that much, and other small interactions. And of course, not forgetting about the cinematic ending. All of these small things will add, in my perspective, more richness to the whole story, and even though the idea of the game is to keep it small, I want to pack it with the most value as possible. This is the end of the first vlog of this game. I hope it was accessible to watch and that might bring some inspiration. For the next episode I'm expecting to bring some updates regarding on more cinematics and updates on the Alien AI. I am open to ideas, so please feel free to comment and share your thoughts. They are all appreciated. Until the next one, bye.